Go ahead.
that, why would you resent him because he overreacted to you forgiving him?
I don't. I don't resent him
You
at all.
just said
But
you said it infused the anger again.
it does, yes.
But
It fueled my anger.
How could it do that if you don't have the anger, if you're forgiven?
Well, that's the problem. You know,
So you're on the air.
how you doing, my brother?
All this well, Mark.
All right. Been listening to you for a while, since I've seen you on Infowars.com. You really brought a great perspective on how to get closer and just reunite with your faith. The problem I'm having, there is still deep-rooted anger that I have.
And how do you...
And I just... Go ahead.
No, finish your point. Go ahead.
No, it's just deep-rooted anger. You know, you always say, you know, forgive your mother, forgive your father. Unrealizing to me, my mom, she did, as you would say.
She did.
She did. And I forgave her, though, when I was a young kid. I literally did. I never even realized it. So I started talking. I'm like, wow, I did. I forgave her. My dad, he's a self-proclaimed atheist. Talks about how he's related to Uncle Adolf. I mean, it's just some weird crap. How do you deal with that? And I did. I did forgive him, and all I got was a rash of crap that I was pathetic. I needed psychiatric counseling, which is actually supposed to be therapy, but he doesn't know any better. And so you know what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying?
And your question for me is what?
Deep-rooted anger. Obviously, it's from my father. Because I can't connect to my father to the Lord, right? The earthly father to God.
And right. And did you forgive your father?
Yes, I did.
You told him that?
Yes, I did. And I got a rash of crap, which I told you.
Right. And how do you feel that he reacted that way?
It fueled my anger.
Why?
Because, you know, he's my parent. You know, I thought he would have, you know, some sort of compassion or empathy towards me.
And so why did you get angry at him if you were forgiving him by realizing that you were wrong for resenting him for the way he is? Why would you forgive him and then resent him again if you were truly forgiving him, knowing that he can help himself?
And that's the thing. I think that from what I understand through the rest of the family history that I've spoke with, that he had actually had issues and where he was raised by the mom, you know, and didn't stick up for us during our upbringing. And I think to a certain level, he himself resents that and resents his mom.
So knowing that, why would you resent him because he overreacted to you forgiving him?
I don't. I don't resent him at all.
You said it infused the anger again.
It does, yes.
But
it fueled my anger.
How could it do that if you don't have the anger, if you're forgiving?
Well, that's the problem. You know, some of the things that he's done throughout our whole life, and I'm not going to air it out publicly.
Right.
He should be locked up in prison.
But why
I forgave him for...
Why does that bother you, whether he should? That's his life, and it has nothing to do with you. Why do you have that type of judgment on him?
Good point. No, you're absolutely right.
That was a question.
You're absolutely right. Why should I, I should not be judging anybody, including my father, regardless of what he did.
Well, why do you?
Because he's part of my family, I thought,
And that gives you the right to judge him?
No, sir.
So
it does
why
not.
do you then?
It does not.
So why do you?
Because it's still deep-rooted. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, that it's deep-rooted. Someone you trusted and you followed through your whole life, and to the point where they're just like, oh, I'm not going to show up at your wedding. No, I'm not going to show up with the family reunion that you put up because I can't stand everybody and what they say about me. And and then I forgave him. I forgave him about it, and then he comes back and he tells me, what I told you before, and you're right. I probably should squash that.
Have you? You say you forgave your mother when you were young?
Yeah. I never realized I did.
How do you know you forgave her?
Oh, it was, I was like 13 years old. It was called Operation Upgrade. I was going to skip a grade because I was held back, not for academics, but I was held back because, I was just bored and I'd play around. And my mom held me back. The school wouldn't hold me back. So it came up that, hey, I can go to summer school and I can get back in my right grade. And my mom said, no, you're held back for a reason. And I'm like, no, you held me back because, you did it, not because the school did it. And I got to say, my dad stuck up for me, and he was really big about it. And I went through all of that, and literally a year later, we were having a discussion, and I told her, I was like, with all due respect, I forgive you, for these issues and the way you tried to raise me. You didn't have the right to. It was my right. And I never realized that I forgave my mom before she passed away in 97. My dad's a whole, pardon me?
Why do you need to forgive your father?
Well, listening to you, of course. Through your earthly father, you reach God.
Right. You can never know God as long as you resent your earthly father. It's just not going to happen. You can read the Bible, you can go to church, you can hoop and holler, but unless you forgive him, the son, you're never going to reach the father.
But if I forgave him.
Why did you forgive him? Is that the only reason you forgave him?
I forgave him for him not sticking up for me while I was growing up.
What? So you don't see that you were wrong for resenting him, that you don't have a right to resent him because you know better?
No.
Well,
and if I told him that, he wouldn't understand it if I even told him that way.
Why does he need to understand it?
He doesn't. You're right.
And so why do you tell him then? Apparently you don't see that you're wrong for resenting him, that you know better. You don't have control of your own life. Something else is controlling you. And you're wrong for judging him because something is controlling him. You don't see that you're wrong for resenting him, and that's why you're not free.
So
you're doing it because you think that you're going to get to heaven. You're going to return to your faith. That's the wrong reason. We must forgive because we see that we're wrong for judging. We'll know better.
Okay, exactly. No, I completely agree. It's the process of getting on that, straight and narrow path and getting there. And I tend to take little detours on bumpy roads. But honestly, so you know what? If your father isn't, loving towards you or this or that, you just let it go, right? You let it go? That's what I'm hearing.
You forgive because you get to know yourself and you see that you're out of control. You see that you can't help yourself. And if you can't help yourself, you want to be right, you want to do the right thing, but you can't. It will help you to understand him, and he did the best he could for you. He didn't have the love that you need. I know what you're talking about, because he never forgave his mother for doing that to him and his father for not protecting him. And if you truly understood for you that you are wrong for judging him or anyone, you would go and apologize for being wrong for judging him. And you would not need him to admit to anything, because when you forgive him by apologizing for you being wrong for judging him, then God will forgive you and you'll be free.
So I just that makes sense. So basically go out there and say, you know what, I'm sorry for judging you. At the same point, I do forgive you, but I'm sorry for judging you, and just walk off. And if he doesn't want to be a part of my life, so be it, right?
Well, don't plan how the outcome, because the outcome will happen on its own. But for sure, when you forgive him by admitting you're wrong for judging him, not that you're an adult, you know that I'm wrong for resenting my father. I can't even help myself. Uh, and then God will forgive you and make you free, and then your life will start to you will start to overcome the fallen state and start to live your life. And it'll be amazing for you. And so if he
I,
says, forget you, or if he yell at you or call you names, it wouldn't matter because you understand he can't see. You're forgiving
yeah,
him and God is forgiving you.
yeah, and I did not react over the words that the name calling towards me. I got one step. I got one step in heaven, but I need to get another step in, if you know what I mean.
You got one step in heaven? What do you mean?
I got one foot in heaven. Church is inside yourself. Heaven is within yourself. It's upon you to reach that. I'm getting there, but these are the little things that I'm having issues with.
You have a family? You're married with children?
I'm married, no children, and after 12 years, looks like we're going to get a divorce. And the reason was I started to become religious, and I basically gave myself over to Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And she has a very big issue about that. But guess what? There's always two sides of the conversation.
Why did you, after 12 years, why you guys don't have any children? I'm glad you didn't if you're getting a divorce, but why didn't you have children?
Infertility issues. She has endometriosis. She's gone through 2 surgeries. We actually went through IVF. And I got 3 kids. They're frozen. 2 males and 1 female. They're frozen. Amazing. Literally, the embryos are frozen.
Why? So you said when you became religious, she didn't like that?
No, it was weird too because she's from Alabama, where you're from, and she can 90% of the time the gospel song comes on, she can recite it, sing along. And as soon as I started getting...
Let me ask you this because I got to run here. How do you feel about having to divorce her?
It is what it is.
How do you feel about it?
Neutral.
What does that mean?
I'm not happy, but I'm not mad.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, let it go and you start working on you. Work on your life so that you don't get out of this marriage and go into another marriage, end up the same way.
I'm not going to get married again. Okay. I promised myself one marriage. And I told her I was going to try. I told her I was going to fight through this thick and thin. You're
going to fight through what?
The vows that, I said to her, when we got married.
Oh, I got you. So now you're willing to let it go, though, right?
Well, you know what? It takes 2 people. So,
are you willing to let her go?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to suck, but yeah.
Why is it going to suck?
Yeah. I mean, she's a real good woman.
If she was a good woman,
heart, but
why do you call her a good woman? No woman is good.
You know what? Good point. Really good point.
Why do you do it then?
But I can't call her a bad person. I feel bad.
So why do you call her good then?
She's a behavioral analyst. She works for kids that are on the spectrum. Asperger's.
Asperger's.
Yeah, she helps the.
They have Asperger's.
No, she doesn't.
Oh.
She helps kids that have Asperger's.
So why do you call her good, Mark?
Maybe it's because I love her, and maybe it's probably a false
Why
sense
do you
of
think
love.
you love her? You're lying about her being good. Why do you think you love her and you got to lie about her?
Good point.
No, it was a question.
Good point.
It was a question.
I thought she loved me, but obviously the love needs to go back to God and not to a human person.
Are you doing the silent prayer?
It's funny you ask me that because for years I have what's called the blank canvas. Like if you're an artist, you got a blank canvas. And what I would do is literally just clear my mind, and any kind of thoughts I had coming through, blank canvas, blank canvas. I would blank everything away.
Are you doing the silent prayer?
Well, that's kind of the silent prayer, right?
No, that's not the silent prayer at all.
So if you, and I listened to your video on the silent prayer, that
have
you
you done the silent prayer?
Yes.
You've done it? You did.
I mean, there should be no thoughts coming across at a certain point, correct?
Have you done the silent prayer? You used my video?
Yes, I watched your video, and it's the same thing that I did with my so-called blank canvas.
No, you're not supposed to have a blank canvas. You're supposed to observe the thoughts and let them come and go without you overreacting or having any opinion about them at all. You can't blank them out, because if you try to blank them away yourself, you're thinking that you can control this, and you can't.
So that's pretty deep, because I thought part of the prayer was to clear your mind.
Yeah, but not you. You want to become aware of what is not your mind. Your thoughts, those thoughts are not your mind. They're not you at all.
You know what? I know you got to go. You got to take other calls and everything. I'm gonna smoke on it, as you would say.